All right, so what we're looking at here is Bidmas. Now, Bidmas, sometimes called other things. It can be called like Bodmas or PEMDAS, depending on where you learnt it, but I'm talking about Bidmas, and it's the same either way. It tells you the order in which you have to do things in a calculation. Now, it's not as if you will get a Bidmas question where you have to use Bidmas. Bidmas is always true. Every question is one where Bidmas is the order in which you have to do things. Now, Bidmas stands for something. The B stands for brackets, and that's the first thing that you have to do in a calculation. I is indices, and that comes next. Now, indices are things like 4 squared. They're the little numbers where you have a number to the power of something. But also, it's if you have a square root, that also is an indices, an index. D stands for division. M is multiplication. A is addition, adding, and S is subtraction, subtract. And you have to do things in this order. That means where you have a complicated calculation, like this first one I've got here, we can't do the adding first because multiplication is above it, but then brackets is above that. So let me show you how to use Bidmas to answer a calculation where you've got lots of things you need to do. We're going to go down the list and see what parts of the calculation fit in this list. So the first thing we should do is brackets, and we do actually have some brackets. So we do the calculation in the brackets first, which is 2 plus 3, which means this equation turns into 9 plus 7 times 2 plus 3 is 5. So we've done the brackets, that's done. Indices, we don't have any of those, we don't have any powers. Division, we don't have that either. Multiplication, we do. So next we do the 7 times 5. So that now becomes 9 plus 35. The only thing left to do is the adding, which does come next on the list. So 9 plus 35 is 44. That's the answer to this calculation, and you would have got a different wrong answer if we'd have accidentally done the calculation in a different order, if we'd have done the plus before we'd done the multiplication, for example. Now this one's much bigger. Let's have a look at this one as well. We need to do the brackets first, but inside the brackets we have a multiplication and a plus, an addition. Now, going back to our Bidmas, the multiplication needs to come first, even inside the bracket. So we are doing the bracket first, but inside that we do the times, which means this whole equation is going to turn into 3 times 4 is 12, plus 24, and then the rest we're going to leave for now. We still haven't finished the bracket yet, so we do the 12 plus the 24, which is 36. Now that's the bracket done. We can move to the next step, which would be the indices. Now this time we do have an index. We have 3 squared, so we do that next. 3 squared, that's 3 times 3, which is 9. We have a division that comes next, so we'll do that. 36 divided by 9 is 4. And finally, the last thing left to do is 4 take away 10, and 4 take away 10 is negative 6. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of questions up there so that if you would like, you can pause the video and have a go, because in a sec I'll talk through the answers. So pause here if you want to have a try at those before I show you how to work them out. All right, let's talk through them. So in this calculation, we do have a bracket. So we're going to do the bracket first, meaning this whole thing turns into 12 plus 2 times 8 divided by 4 is 2. No indices, no division, but we do have multiplication. We have 2 times 2. So this becomes 12 plus 2 times 2 is 4. The only thing left to do is the adding, so 12 plus 4 is 16. And then this one over here is another complicated one. Brackets come first, so we're going to leave the 10 squared by itself, and we're going to take away 25 times 2, that's 50. And the divide stays where it was. Next comes the indices, so we're going to do the 10 squared, which is 100. Take away 50 divided by 10. Next is division. We've done the brackets, we've done the indices. Next is division, so 50 divided by 10 is 5, so that's 100 take away 5. The only thing left is the subtraction, and 100 take away 5 is 95. So that's Bidmas. Don't forget, you always have to do brackets first. It's not just in Bidmas questions, you always do brackets first, followed by indices. This order is always the order in which you should do things. Hope that helped.